Is the new Laphroaig Carchis Lore Cask Strength the greatest whiskey in the entire history of the known universe? Probably, but let's find out for sure. I'm Jeff, this is Gwhisky, stick around. Alright, Laphroaig Carchis. This is my fourth time reviewing a Laphroaig Carchis in 4 years. This is Laphroaig's experimental line. Every year, they give this whiskey a new production and a new approach. Last year, they gave us the 10-year-old cask favorites. The year before that, I think it was a white port finish, which I really enjoyed. And before that, they gave us the Warehouse 1 release. I like them all, and this year, they're doing something kind of cool. They're taking their Lore release and they're ramping it up to Cask Strength. Now, if you're not familiar with the Lore release, this is one that I did review years and years ago towards the beginning of the channel, and I liked it a lot back then. I think I gave it 87, which in today's language would be about an 85. I did bring my scoring down. The Lore's whole thing is that it's a pretty sherry forward release, although they do have quite a few casks in there. Our full cask breakdown is bourbon, first fill and refill. We have European oak, which includes virgin oak. We have Oloroso casks, and we have quarter casks. Now, what's interesting is I haven't seen the standard Lore in my market in ages, and if you check online, it's not continued, but I do think that it's been like specialized for a few select markets. I never see it anywhere anymore. However, the 10-year-old Sherry Oak, which is a newer release, is available here, and as far as I'm concerned, that one does make the Lore a little bit redundant. They are both sherry forward Laphroaigs, they have the same ABV, and for me, they scratch a similar itch. And if I had to choose between the two, I probably would go for the 10-year-old Sherry Oak. I've never done the side-by-side, and it's been ages since I had the standard Lore, so grain of salt. Anyway, this whiskey, or the entire Carchis line actually, is not sold here in Taiwan, but luckily I have a friend who mules them over from the US every year for me, which is always fun because then I can parade this bottle around in front of my Taiwanese friends and feel very special because I've got something that they can't get their hands on. Which makes me feel not only validated, but better than other people. I'm a very petty man, and that envy, that jealousy from my buddies is almost as delicious as the whiskey itself. Anyway, I think that's it for all the intro shit. Yeah, so let's pop into the review. As always, kindly leave a like because, as I said, I thrive on validation. This gives us a nice healthy ABV of 59.6%, so not a shrinking violet. It is going to be a non-chill filtered whiskey. Unfortunately, it is colored. Probably. I do like the look of the bottle. It's a little bit more busy. It's a little bit more stylized than your standard Laphroaig bottles, but I like it. Score-wise, we'll give this 4 out of 5. Our details here are okay. It says that it's non-chill filtered. It doesn't mention color. It says that it's matured in 5 different cask types. It says it is our intense Lore at cask strength. So really, aside from omitting the fact that this is a colored whiskey, which is a thing that colored whiskeys do, our info is okay. Bottle looks nice. All right, on the nose, this is not shy. We do get Laphroaig coming through. There's plenty of sherry up front. We get jammy red fruit. We get maraschino cherries. We get classic Laphroaig smoke here. It's peaty, it's medicinal. I get iodine. There's also a touch of sweet barbecue sauce in here. There's gingerbread and eucalyptus. On the palate and finish, we get a nice arrival here. There's a good texture. It's not too aggressive up front. We get some white pepper and some sweet berries. There's raspberry notes, lemon cake, iodine, cherry syrup, the classic medicine cabinet flavor that everyone loves. There's chocolate in here, chili chocolate, Jaffa cakes, and someone on Whiskey Base said burning herbs. Absolutely. We get a long finish here on spicy gingerbread, cherry coke, vanilla coke, all the cokes. Alright, so this is pretty good. I feel like Carchis releases in general are pretty consistent. I've liked the previous ones. I like this one. It is on brand for Laphroaig. It is what I remember from the Lore, cranked up. This is not really doing anything unexpected. It is pretty much how I would picture the Lore at cask strength, but that's not a bad thing. Whiskey needs to be good, not surprising. I particularly like those cherry cola notes as well as the gingerbread spice in here. I think that's pretty unique. It is somewhat modern Laphroaig. I've talked about this before. Laphroaig is not quite as rugged as it once was, so make of that what you will. That said, compared to the last couple of years, which were, in my book, more on the clean side for Laphroaig, this one does lean a little bit more into that ruggedness. Not like it used to, but a touch. I do like the intensity here. This is a big, bold whiskey. It's not too young. The casks work well with the spirit. The spirit is classic Laphroaig, and we have a nice balance here. It comes together nicely. If I'm going to compare this to the previous releases, I would say that it's in the same ballpark quality-wise. As I said earlier, even though they switch up the production every year, the quality tends to be consistent. And honestly, I'm just always happy to get a Laphroaig at cask strength. Add to that the fact that we're getting something new that is reliably good each year. I'm happy. Compared to last year's 10-year-old cask favorites, which I did like, this one is bolder. Our ABV on the cask favorites is 52.4%, whereas it's 59.6 on this one. It's bigger, it's heavier, it's smokier. Last year's cask favorites, I scored an 88. Probably bring that down to an 87 now.
But Jeff, you can't just change your scores like that.
Yeah, I can. Have you never changed your opinion on a whiskey based on new experiences with it? Does the first sip taste like the last sip? Can our opinions evolve? Yes. There's oxidation, there's what you ate that day, pollen, mood, zodiac signs. We do our best to describe the whiskeys as best we can, but consistency, honestly, it's almost impossible. I'm doing my best here, guys. Anyway, both last year's and this year's are sherry forward, cask forward Laphroaigs. Last year's was sweeter, it was more elegant, and it was oakier. The Lore from this year has bigger balls, it's louder fruits, louder smoke, everything's louder, which I do think appeals more to Laphroaig's core fan base. I like both. I do like having two different sides of Laphroaig just a year apart. They're both classic Laphroaigs, they're both sherry forward, but the energy is totally different. Different vibes. So that does make for a fun side-by-side, but ultimately I do think that this Lore will be a bigger hit than last year's Cairdeas, the cask favorites, just because it is that much bolder, which is great. That said, fair warning, both this and last year's whiskeys are both sherry forward, they're cask forward, they have that grape juice influence, so neither of these are going to appeal to the purist. I would say that the last Cairdeas release that really would appeal to the Laphroaig purist would be that Warehouse 1 release from a few years back. These ones, grape juicy. But I think that works well. I think Laphroaig takes on sherry well. These are modern Laphroaigs, keep that in mind. So if you want to complain about how the old ones were more rugged, that's correct. But yeah, I'm good with this one. I like it, I enjoy it. I'm going to score it an 87, just like last year's. And what's nice here is you are getting what you signed up for, because it is the Lore at cask strength. If you've had the Lore, if you're a fan of the Lore, then you kind of know what to expect here. But again, like I said, doesn't need to be surprising, just needs to be good. This is good, so it's recommended. Now, before we jump into value, I do want to say a quick thank you to all my channel members and all my patrons. Guys, thank you very much for the support. And if you want to help out with any of that, the channel, it's all me, from shooting, scripting, editing, the whole thing. It's a one-man show, so any little bit of support does go a long way. I'll put Patreon and PayPal links down below. And now let's see if this one is worth the money. So my buddy Jack brought this over. I didn't pay for it. The guy's a legend. Every time he comes over and visits Taiwan, he brings a bottle over from California. But according to my research, this sells for roughly 100 US there. And for that, I don't think it's cheap, but it is a quality Laphroaig that's well executed and released at cask strength. So it is at the upper end of what I would pay for it, but I would pay for it, and the whiskey's recommended. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of the video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I want to hear from you. So have you tried this year's Cairdeas, the Lore Cask Strength? How do you feel about it? Is it worth the money? How would you compare it to previous releases? You can put all of that down below. Also down below, you can let me know what you want to see me review down the line, and I'll keep that in mind for my upcoming videos. Bye, guys.